This is the Redkey MGC500. It quietly keeps my lawn looking trimmed and tidy while I spend that same time doing anything other than mowing. It is a battery-powered robotic lawn mower made for small to medium yards. I would call it a great fit for anyone with 1/8 of an acre or so, maybe with some curves, garden beds, and a few tricky corners that a regular push mower never quite handles cleanly. If you want the routine of frequent, light cuts without the noise or the hassle of gas, cords, or a weekly workout, that is where this makes sense. The design is simple and useful in ways that matter. The body is a muted ash gray that does not scream for attention. It is compact enough to slip under a shelf in my garage and light enough to pick up, though there is some weight to it. Mine is around 42 pounds, which actually helps with traction when it climbs or turns on uneven ground. It sits low, around just under 5 inches tall, so it slides under my picnic bench and reaches under shrubs without snagging. The width is about 16.5 inches, which keeps it nimble in narrow spots but still wide enough to make progress. The wheels have a deep tread, and that matters when the lawn is a bit damp or the yard slopes. It feels sturdy. The plastics do not flex much when I press on them, and the bumpers have enough give to absorb a nudge without scuffing up furniture or edging stones. Getting it up and running took patience, but it was not complicated. In the box I had the mower, a charging dock, a power supply, low voltage cables, a long spool of boundary wire, bags of pegs and screws, a small packet of connectors, and a simple cardboard spacing guide. The boundary wire is the fence that defines the work area. You pin it around flower beds, patios, and the outer edge of the yard, then run both ends back to the dock. I will be honest. The idea of laying a wire around my entire yard felt like a chore. Once I started, it became more like a careful walk. I followed the guide for spacing and used a rubber mallet to set pegs every few feet. The bag of pegs looks kind of excessive at first. I ended up using just about all of them. The more securely the wire is pinned, the less likely it is to lift or shift when dogs, kids, or weather get involved. I took my time around corners and made gentle curves so the mower would not hunt back and forth. When I powered everything up, the mower followed that wire to learn the boundaries. Then it began to work the interior. The navigation is smarter than the bump and wander style units I have tried before. Instead of bouncing off edges randomly, it moves in grid-like passes, and it reacts to obstacles instead of getting itself into a spiral. I like that I can see a real-time map and history inside the Roam Smart Life application. I went in skeptical because I do not love adding another application to my phone. This one has been worth it. I set the schedule, I see battery levels, and I adjust the cutting height without bending down to fiddle with knobs. If something goes wrong, I get a clear alert that actually describes the issue. One time I had tucked the boundary wire behind a stepping stone, and it must have pulled a connector loose. The application told me there was a boundary issue and even pointed me to the rough area. I walked over, found the break, used a connector from the box, and it was back to mowing in a few minutes. Cut quality is what makes or breaks any mower, and this one delivers a clean look if you let it run on a regular schedule. It does best with frequent, short trims. When I first started, my grass was a little longer than usual, and I noticed a few faint lines where it turned at the ends of a pass. After a couple of days of regular runs, those disappeared, and the lawn settled into that even, carpet-style look you get from consistent maintenance. The blade system is quiet. I measured noise with a simple phone app and got numbers under 57 decibels at a few feet away. In real use, it sounds like a soft fan. I take calls inside while it is running, and I forget it is even out there. Battery life has been solid. I see about 70 minutes of mowing before it decides to head back to its dock. Charging is automatic. It finds the base, tops up, and resumes when it hits around 90%, picking up right where it left off. The first time I saw that, I smiled because it means I do not have to think about it. It has a rain sensor, and when a shower starts, it pauses and heads home. I have had it turn around mid-pass when a light drizzle turned into real rain. That saves the lawn from getting chewed up on wet patches and saves me from going outside to rescue it. Safety was a big concern for me. I stood in its path to see how it would behave. It slowed down, paused, backed up, and found another route. It has not bumped ankles, toes, or paws. If it senses something in its way, it behaves cautiously instead of pushing through. On slopes, it has been confident. The yard behind my house is uneven and has a few challenging angles. The mower climbed without slipping, and it did not leave scuffed areas when it turned, even when the ground was slightly damp. The tires are slip-resistant, and the weight helps it maintain grip. The main limit is extremely loose soil. In an area I recently reseeded, I saw light tracks the first day. I paused the schedule there until the soil firmed up and the issue went away. A few small quirks are worth mentioning. Setting the boundary for tight edges took me 2 days to get perfect. On the first run, I saw a narrow strip of taller grass along my stone path. I pulled the wire in by about an inch or two, and that fixed it. The cardboard spacing guide is helpful, but it bends easily if it gets wet. I ended up following the measurements by eye on the second afternoon. The other thing is that the automatic cutting height felt a little conservative if the grass grew quickly after a storm. It left the lawn a touch higher than I like. I tweaked the setting in the application and it matched my preference. Once I set it, it stayed consistent. Real-world testing is where this thing won me over. My yard has a mix of flat areas, a narrow corridor beside a fence, a raised garden bed, a small tree with surface roots, and a patio with awkward corners. The mower navigated all of it. Around the tree, it slowed and eased itself between roots, then finished the patch without getting hung up. In the corridor, it threaded the needle as long as I kept the boundary wire as straight as possible on both sides. The patio corners are always tricky. The mower got close, but not perfect, so I keep a small hand trimmer for the absolute edges maybe once every couple of weeks. That is still a massive upgrade from pushing a heavy mower around the whole place. When my dog left a ball on the lawn, the mower touched it, backed up, and went around without grinding it into the grass. When a neighborhood cat wandered through, it paused and waited. That slow and cautious behavior makes me more comfortable letting it run while I am not watching. For daily use, I set a schedule that starts early in the morning 3 times a week. I work from home and I do not like noise. With this, I barely notice it. I can start a video meeting and forget it is outside. On weekends, if I know people are coming over, I can hop into the Roam Smart Life application, bump the cutting height down a notch, and let it do a quick touch-up a day before. If rain is in the forecast, I shift the schedule with a couple of taps. The mower respects the boundaries, so it does not wander onto the sidewalk or chew through mulch in the beds. When the lawn is finished, it goes home and stays put. There are some smart touches that genuinely help. The way it resumes mowing after hitting that 90% charge means the yard still gets finished the same day. The rain detection keeps it safe and prevents ugly ruts. The brake detection on the boundary wire saved me hours of hunting for a fault when a squirrel decided to test the durability of the cable. The water resistance is rated at Ingress Protection Rating 6, so when clippings build up on the body, I give it a rinse with a gentle spray and wipe it down. After 2 weeks, I noticed a bit of grease near one wheel hub. A quick wipe cleaned it and it has not come back. Blade maintenance has been simple so far. I check them every couple of weeks. They are still sharp, and replacements are easy to swap when the time comes. One specific use case that really shows its value is my midweek routine. I have 2 mornings with back-to-back calls, and those were always when the grass seemed to grow the fastest. I set the mower to run during that window. It quietly covers the lawn while I am at my desk. If I need to pause it because the kids are playing outside, I open the application, hit pause, and it heads back to the dock. Later, I send it back out and it continues from where it left off. No dragging a mower from the shed. No gas. No cords. No sweating through a shirt on a humid afternoon. The big question I had before trying it was whether it would actually handle my yard instead of becoming another gadget I babysit. It did. It made my grass look consistently cared for, and it did it without drama. You will spend time on setup. That is the trade-off. But once the wire is down and the dock is placed in a spot with some breathing room, the routine is pretty automatic. If you have a very large property, this exact model may not be the right match. If you have a ton of narrow isthmus-style passages or an extremely complex layout, Expect to tweak the boundary a bit to get it just right. If you enjoy the ritual of mowing and striping your lawn every weekend, this will not scratch that itch. If you want to reclaim your weekends and keep the lawn clean and even, it is a strong choice. In the end, I am happy with it. The Redkey MGC500 feels well built. The navigation is smarter than I expected. It climbs and turns without scuffing. The application is genuinely useful, and the whole thing is quieter than my old box fan. My yard looks tidier, and I have the time back to actually enjoy being outside instead of pushing a mower around. If that is what you want, and your lawn size fits the sweet spot, this is absolutely worth considering. I will leave detailed information about the Redkey MGC500 in the comments for your reference. Thank you for watching.